Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we're going to begin the funeral services of Mrs. Sandra Wolf. Rabbi Michael Sommer from Congregation Har Shalom will be officiating. We ask those of you who are seated, please be sure you keep your masks on. We also ask you to take a moment to be sure that your cellular phones have been turned off. At this time, we're going to begin the sacred funeral ceremony, and the rabbi will begin the tearing of the cloth of doing Kriya. So if I can kindly ask your two sons to please rise.
The act of Kriya is as old as biblical times. When a loved one died back then, they would rent their clothing and pour ash upon their head. The act has come forward as a black ribbon we wear upon our lapel to remind all of our friends and family that we're in a period of mourning and to approach us with sympathy and love. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, dayan hamet. Blessed are you, Lord our God, judge of truth. Esaina el heharim, me'ayin yavo ezri. Esaina el heharim, me'ayin yavo ezri. Ezri me'im Adonai, Oseh Shemayim va'aretz. Ezri me'im Adonai, Oseh Shemayim va'aretz. The psalmist in those words wrote long ago, I lift my eyes to the mountains. What is the source of my help? My help comes from Adonai, maker of heaven and earth. God will not let your foot give way. Your protector will not slumber. See, the protector of Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. God is your guardian. God is your protection at your right hand. The sun will not strike you by day, nor the moon by night. God will guard you from all harm. God will guard your soul, your going and coming now and forever. Our writings teach us that a woman of strength, beauty, and kindness, who can find? She is more precious than fine gems. Her family loves and depends on her, and so they lack nothing. She does good by them, never harm all the days of her life. She perceives that her labor is rewarding. Her candle burns on into the night. She reaches out to those in need and extends her hands to everyone. She is clothed in strength and dignity, and she faces the future cheerfully. She speaks with wisdom. The law of kindness is on her lips. Her children rise up and bless her. Her family entire sing her praises. Many daughters have done valiantly, but you excel them all. In our sadness, we celebrate a life well lived. Sandy Wolf filled most of her 80 years with laughter and an unending love for her family and closest friends. We surround ourselves with the memories when we lose a loved one to hold us during these times and to keep laughter in the stories we tell that remind us dearly of how they touched our lives. Daughter of Jack and Ruth of blessed memory, loving wife of Al of blessed memory, sister of Reva and her husband Shelly, mother of Evan and Katie and Merrill and Katie, and doting grandmother of Maddie, Jack, Ryan, Andrew, and Charlie. May we always remember Sandy and all she meant in your lives, and may her memory always be a blessing. A poet wrote, oh, the years have passed and my eyes have seen so much. Time has flowed slowly and quickly, the eternal river that it is. I've watched so many of you go from young to old and wondered how you all could grow so, while I remained so young within this old frame, harboring all of my precious memories and thoughts. Gold are the memories of laughter and celebrations. Diamonds are those moments I watched you all flourish and help bring new life into this world. Beyond precious remain those instants surrounded by all of your noise and tussle as we lived life to the very edge of amazement. You've allowed me to paint my blessings in colors of brightness and merriment. Shed no tears for my life lived so well. Just remember me with a smile at all we shared. The birds made popular these ancient words of Ecclesiastes when they sang that there is a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to uproot, a time to tear down and a time to build, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to scatter stones and a time to gather them, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to search and a time to give up, a time to keep and a time to throw away, a time to tear and a time to mend, a time to be silent and a time to speak. Now is the time we speak of Sandy's remarkable life as we call up her grandchildren, Ryan, Jack, and Maddie, to speak about their grandmother.
I think my grandma was like my spirit animal. She was kind of that girly girl that I could like shop with and have that connection with. And I just remember she bought me my first tube top, which my mom returned the next day. And she took me to get my makeup done for the first time, which my mom wiped off right when I got home. I just know that she was always that person that I could talk to and connect with and spend my days with, shopping and doing all the fun things that I could do with her on the weekends. I definitely got my shopping addiction from her. She helped to fuel that. And I know that I'll just always have those memories of the days that we would spend. And I'm just gonna miss her. But
Good morning. My grandmother was a complex person. My relationship with her was also complicated. Since I heard of her passing, I spent an extensive amount of time reflecting and thinking back on every aspect of her and I's relationship. It's been an emotionally exhausting past couple of days, but ultimately, that reflecting led to the remembrance of all the good times she and I shared. Growing up, a day with grandma was a tradition that my grandma had with all of us grandkids. She and I would always go see a movie, and then on our way out, we would always go to Johnny Rockets at the mall. The movie was always my choice, and so was Johnny Rockets. She was thinking of what would make me happy and putting me before herself. It was one of the many times she put her kind heart on display. And as she passes on, I hope above everything else that it's her kind heart that people remember her by. And I feel as though she would have wanted me to just mention a couple things. She loved purple, the color purple. She loved chocolate, all things chocolate. And she loved her family. I will miss her dearly, but I'll always remember and look back on my time with her fondly. Thank you.
When first being asked if I would like to speak today, I was a little unsure. But then I realized that Grandma Sandy was a very special person to all of us. When the rest of the grandkids and I were little, we used to have our day with Grandma. She would take us out. We would go shopping. We would get food. We would go see a movie. And I truly believe that this is what showed Grandma's love for the rest of the grandkids and myself, because she just wanted to make sure that we had a day of doing exactly what we wanted to do and just spend one-on-one quality time with each of us. Another great memory I have of my grandma is being her handyman when I was little. If my dad ever needed to go over and fix something such as the washer and dryer, or later on just maybe plugging in the broken TV to turn it on, I would always tag along wanting to help. Every time I would show up, it felt like she would be so excited to see me. And I feel like that's what made me want to go along more as well with the $20 bill. When she was still living in the townhome, I remember the visits were always a little more fun due to the massive basement to mess around in and be creative in. I say creative because there were no toys in the basement, yet my brother Jack and I still managed to find 2 sun chairs to make soccer goals and find a ball to play with. It was those memories that will stick around for good, and it's those memories that should stick around for good. Grandma Sandy, I love you forever.
Andrew, you wrote in, I had a lot of memories of Grandma Sandy, but I think the one I remember most would be our visits to Culver's when I was younger. On a weekend day, she would come and pick me and sometimes my brother up from our house and drive us down to our condo complex. From there, we would stop in our house and walk over to Culver's, which was conveniently right across the street. We'd always order Butterburgers and sit outside and eat. Then we'd head back to her condo to eat Brookies, her favorite dessert, a cookie and brownie combined, and watch some TV. I really had a lot of fun on our outings when it was just me and her. And Charlie, you wrote, my favorite memory of Grandma Sandy is when Andrew and I would go to her house and play in her kitchen sink, make lots of bubbles and pretend to do the dishes. Sometimes she would read Dad's old pop-up books to us from when he was a kid. She would also sometimes take us to eat at Steak and Shake too, and I loved all of it. Life is built one memory at a time, keeping the most special ones that set on within our minds and our hearts to be pulled out over the years and looked back on to remind us of good days gone by. Sandy was born in St. Louis and grew up there with her sister Reva. She graduated from University City High School and then attended secretarial school. She met Al when they went on a double date with a friend, and clearly it was a good date as they were married 6 months later. Evan, you remembered your mom as loving, although rigid and firm. She wanted everything to be a certain way. It wasn't always easy seeing eye to eye, but family always does the best it can. It was hard sticking together when you knew that every 2 to 3 years you'd be moving for your dad's job with Boise Cascade, St. Louis to Boise, back to St. Louis, Orlando, Memphis. You only lasted in Williamsport for 6 months until your mom put her foot down and had enough with that city. When you finally moved to Chicago and set down some roots in 1979. Evan, you talked about how much your mom loved to see you and Merrill's successes. She enjoyed your accolades and all you two achieved. And Merrill, you commented how proud your mom was of you two, your wives, and all her incredible grandchildren. Katie and Katie, you both remarked how Sandy raised such incredible sons, worth keeping clearly, and putting up with all these years as your partners in life. Sandy was such a doting grandmother. She loved all of you grandchildren beyond words. She talked about you to everyone, all of her friends, and even strangers if they would listen. Sandy loved to shop, loved the color purple, as mentioned, her late dog Truffles, and even used to love gardening. She also loved to walk the botanic gardens and loved to spoil herself, get her hair and nails done, and go out dressed to the nines whenever she went out. She loved to do nice things and go to nice places. Evan, you remembered when your parents were young, they loved traveling together, traveling to Mexico, Barbados, Hawaii, St. Martin, Martinique, and loved going on cruises. Sandy also loved her sweets. She was a sugarholic that loved chocolate cake with chocolate icing, among many of the sweet treats that she cherished. Over the years, Sandy loved playing mahjong with a group of friends. They would go to Pinstripes, eat, and play mahjong all day. She had her own set she used to take with her to play. Evan and Merrill, you remember whenever your mom had the ladies over to play at the house, there was always peanut M&Ms and a cheese log whenever the mahjong group came over. Evan, you used to love sneaking out of your room to get some M&Ms, even if you had already brushed your teeth. It was just too tempting. These last 5 years were not easy, as Sandy's Alzheimer's was unkind to her. You all took incredible care of her until the end. You can know she's no longer in pain, and in some way knew you did everything you could to keep her comfortable. We all try to live the best life possible. You are Sandy's legacy. You are the people Sandy loved more than anything in this world. You are left to fill the world with her memories. May Sandy's memory always be a blessing, and may you always remember her in her health and strength. Merritt Malloy wrote, when I die, give what's left of me away to children and old people who wait to die. And if you need to cry, cry for your brother and sister walking the street beside you. And when you need me, put your arms around anyone and give them what you need to give me. I want to leave you something better than words or sounds. Look for me in the people I've known or loved. And if you cannot give me away, at least let me live in your eyes and not on your mind. You can love me most by letting hands touch hands, by letting bodies touch bodies, and by letting go of children that need to be free. Love doesn't die, people do. So when all that's left of me is love, give me away. We continue in the pamphlets, reading together the 23rd Psalm. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. We rise for El Malei Rachamim, the memorial prayer. El Malei Rachamim, Shochein Bamromim, Hamsei Menucha Nechona, Tachat Kanfei Hashchina, Im Kedoshim Torim, Kizohar Akim Asirim, Et Nishmat Shlomit Bat Ruth, Shalacha Lolama, Ba'al Rachamim Yastereha, V'seit Kanafav Lolamim, V'yitror B'itra HaChaim Enishmata, Adonai Hu Nachlata, V'tanuach B'Shalom, Al Mishkava V'nomar Amen. Compassionate God, eternal spirit of the universe, grant perfect rest in your sheltering presence to Sandy Wolf, who has entered eternity. O God of mercy, let her find refuge in your eternal presence in the shadow of your wings, and let her soul be bound up in the bond of everlasting life. God is her inheritance. May she rest in peace, and let us say, Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, the services here at the chapel are now concluded. The interment service will continue at Shalom Memorial Park Cemetery, located at 1700 West Rand Road in Arlington Heights. For those of you who will be driving in the funeral procession, the procession will be forming in our parking lot. Please obtain an orange safety funeral sticker to place on the right-hand side of your windshield. Have your bright lights and hazard lights on at all times. For additional measures of safety, we will be providing many of the cars with a flag that'll be affixed to the top portion of your car. We'll have a car in the back of the procession to hopefully keep other cars from entering the procession. And for your own personal safety, I strongly recommend not using your horn liberally as you're going through the intersections. And please do not speak or text on your cellular phone while driving to the cemetery. Memorial contributions in her memory to Alzheimer's Association would be appreciated. And for those of you who are online, all that information can be found on our website at chicagojewishfunerals.com. The Shiva will be private due to the pandemic. At this time, I invite her grandchildren to come forward to serve as pallbearers. And I also invite everyone to please rise and stand in place as we escort the casket of Sandra Wolf from the chapel. You're just going to follow behind us to begin with, and then when we get out. Just follow. This way. Get out this way. Go right out again. Folks, can you turn to